Good people of YouTube, it's the Watchy, and today we're going to be talking about the SKX013 and this here, focus, and this here ISL-69 from Islander, and it's pretty much an SKX013, except obviously it isn't, but it kind of is. But either way, we're going to be talking about it, so let me explain. So I absolutely love the SKX to the point where I have three SKXs, the 007, 009, and the 013. And as much as I love it, I can absolutely admit that there are some really dumb problems with it, mainly the movement. But the cool thing about it is that there is a huge SKX modding community out over there, so pretty much any problem that anyone has with the SKX, they can fix it, and also they can customize it however they want with changing bezels, dials, hands, all that good stuff. And also, to take it another step further, there are actual professionals out over there who customize it for you and make even crazier creations. And also there's some companies out there who do it too. And one of those companies was started by Marc from Long Island Watches. He made Islander, so he took that formula, he created the perfect SKX with all the mods that you enthusiasts want. He's seen great success with that, and now he's created something really cool, which is the ISL-69. And it's his first unique diver in terms of the fact that it's not an existing not an existing Seiko diver, but the really cool thing about it is the fact that it's completely compatible with all the SKX013 aftermarket parts. So dials, bezels, hands, bracelets, all that stuff, swap them right out, which is so cool. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at right now, and let's get into it. And let's do the dimensions over here. So we're going to start off with the case width, and the case width is 39.56 depending on where you get it. Obviously, we have the lug width of 20 millimeters. The bracelet at the clasp is 16, which is awesome, 4 millimeter taper. Lug to lug of 44.8, which is super small, and it's absolutely amazing on wrist. The bezel width is 36.6. The dial is 27 millimeters. The case thickness is 15.6 millimeters. The mid case is 7.8 millimeters. The bezel height is 3.2 millimeters. And the crown is 6 millimeters pretty much. So yeah, the overall dimensions are pretty awesome. I mean, the 40 millimeter is great. 44 millimeter lug to lug is absolutely awesome. It's going to wear on a lot of different wrists. However, seeing that giant case thickness over here, that was actually pretty surprising, because it does say online, as far as I remember, it's like 13 millimeters, which was definitely not the case. I mean, granted that the crystal comes up quite a bit, but it does wear quite thick, so just keep that in mind. And still very comfortable to wear. The footprint is very small, so that's really the main thing that counts. Okay, and the other specs include, as you can see here, 200 meters water resistant, and also it has a domed sapphire crystal, which we're definitely going to be talking about. Okay, and onto the case, and that's honestly the main selling point, I would say, of this Islander, just because this is actually Marc's first unique case design on a watch. The other divers, well, on a diver at least, so the other divers from Islander are the SKX, the Turtle, the Samurai, so which are awesome because he makes some really great designs. But this one really piqued my interest just because this is a completely unique design. This one has a case that's supposed to be another take on the Baby Turtle, and thankfully it doesn't really look too much like the Baby Turtle. It's a lot smaller, that's the first thing, and the case, and especially the lugs, are a little bit different. That's a little bit more circular overall. That's really what got me. I mean, the 40 millimeter case diameter, case width, and then the 44 millimeter lug to lug, plus the Doxa E Turtle case design was awesome. As you can see, the tops of the case is it has a radial brush. It's curved all the way around, which is pretty awesome, and well finished, and it's polished sides on both sides, and that's really what all there is to the case. The crown is at the 4 o'clock position over here, which is a upgrade for those who maybe didn't like the 3 o'clock position for the crown on the Baby Turtle, and also obviously no Cyclops on it, so that's another plus point against the Baby Turtle. Another huge thing is the fact that it has drilled lugs, and that is always a welcome feature, just because it just makes changing bracelets and straps so much easier, and that's something that the this SKX doesn't have, and also this SKX doesn't have. So very cool. Okay, and now onto the crystal, and I put it in its own section just because I have a lot to say about it, just because it is a sapphire crystal, so technically that is an upgrade from the hardlex crystal, even though I've never really had an issue with any of Seiko's hardlex crystals. The main problem that I have with this one is the fact that it is domed, and I'm not opposed to domed sapphire crystals or crystals in general. The Laurier that I reviewed, the Laurier Hydra Series 2, that really gets it right, just because you can see the dial completely, you can see the distortions, and neither of those things you can do with this watch. The distortions aren't there, and also this pretty much reflects the entire planet when you look at it, especially when it's outside. When there's any sort of light, you can see the entire room pretty much. You can see the entire sky, or whatever your surroundings are, you can see it on the dial. So you're basically not seeing the nice sunburst effect of that dial. You're just seeing the entire surrounding. So that really does bother me, just because it's not very legible and you're not getting any of the plus points of having a dome crystal. So I would much rather have a flat sapphire on this one over here, just so you can really take in that dial. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to switch it out. I mean, just because it's so irritating. And yeah, I mean, if you like dome crystals, you know, go for it. But yeah, just be aware that you won't be able to see. Yep, look at that. You won't be able to see the true color of the dial unless you happen to be right next to, actually not even right next to, a black surface. But yeah, I mean, you guys see what I'm saying. Okay, and on to the bezel. First off, the bezel feel is really quite good. I mean, honestly, it's probably the best bezel feel of any of my Seikos, maybe just short of the Marine Master, which is 10 times its price. And actually, let me put it closer to the mic. So yeah, very, very good bezel feel. The only thing is that the resistance is pretty high, so it does take a little bit of effort to rotate the bezel, and that's obviously not helped by the fact that this has the original SKX bezel, and it wasn't very grippy on the original SKX, and it's not any better over here. Very slippery bezel plus a high resistance bezel. Makes for a difficult bezel to turn, and not very pleasant sometimes, even though the actual feel is very, very good. So the bezel insert over here is a black ceramic bezel, and it's a Yacht Mastery look. The inside is a matte finish, and all the markers over here are polished. So I'm not a big fan of this particular bezel on this watch, just because I don't really think that it goes with the aesthetic of a Jubilee bracelet and also a sunburst blue dial. So yeah, definitely one of the things I want to change, and it's so easy to change just because, once again, every single part on this is compatible with the SKX013, which is awesome. So yeah, I ordered a bezel for the SKX. Okay, and on to the bracelet. And the bracelet is one of the biggest selling points of this watch, just because it just looks amazing, and also because I can use this on the SKX over here. And when I got this one, I knew that I wanted to put it on the SKX, so in a way I kind of saved $70 by getting this particular watch, just because I don't have to now buy a Jubilee on it. And so yeah, I guess that's a weird way of me justifying spending money and buying another watch to save money. If you're familiar with any of Strapcode's bracelets, you will know exactly what this is like. It's super high quality, solid end links, solid links all the way through, and it flows so nicely on the wrist, and it has a nice amount of flex to it, so it drapes around the wrist and the curvatures of the wrist perfectly, while still feeling super solid. And also, the other really big thing about Marc's bracelet is the fact that it tapers down to 16 millimeters, so that brings about a 4 millimeter taper, which for me is absolutely perfect. It's absolutely a godsend, just because the proportions work beautifully. And the Strapcode bracelets, on the other hand, have 18 millimeter clasps. So yeah, I mean, definitely a big deal between 2 millimeter taper and a 4 millimeter taper. So very happy with that. And the one negative that I have about this is the spring bars in the end links don't line up with the holes absolutely perfectly. So it leads to a little bit of this over here. So it kind of pops in and out, and it's happening on the other side as well over here. And the problem was less apparent on the 013, the SKX 013, but and I really don't think that this is going to be coming out just because you really have to kind of flex it, but it is something to note and it is kind of irritating. Okay, and now we're on to the dials, hands, and the indices. So the dial is really nice. It's a slightly muted blue. It's not very saturated, and the sunburst effect is very nice. Although you won't really be able to see either one of those things just because the reflections on the dial are so intense just because of that crystal. So, you know, it's a shame just because that dial is definitely worth a look. The indices are Marine Master style set, so very handsome looking set of hour markers over there. And the hands are pretty much upgraded versions of the SKX013. It catches the light a little bit better, and also the second hand is polished instead of randomly being white like it is on the SKX. So definitely a big plus point over there. And the loom is really good, so no complaints on the loom. Obviously, it's not going to be as strong as the loom on an actual Seiko because it has Seiko Lumibright on it. So yeah, obviously this isn't a Seiko, even as much as it pretty much is. Obviously, no loom on the bezel just because this is a one-piece ceramic loom, ceramic bezel. So yeah, yet another reason why I don't like this bezel. And one of the pretty big minus points on the dial is the fact that it is misaligned. And yeah, I guess it's slightly endearing. It gives a nice nod to Seiko's perennial problem of misaligned bezels, misaligned bezels or chapter rings or dials. So I guess in a very unusual way, it's endearing. God, that oh God, I mean that shows how much of a Seiko fanboy I am. That pretty much almost justifying the fact that it has it and has a misaligned dial. It makes it more accurate to a Seiko diver, but oh boy. Okay, and now on to the movement. This one has a very big upgrade over the original SKX, and this one has a NH36. And the big thing about it is the fact that it has hacking seconds and hand winding. That's really the big thing for me, just because the S7S26 in the original SKXs don't have that, and that's a pain for me just because I do synchronize my time absolutely perfectly, and also because this doesn't have a hacking seconds, you also can't really line up the minute hand as well. So that's a very me problem, I guess. I don't know how many other people do it like that. Oh, and additionally, this one has a Spanish. It's a bilingual day wheel on this one over here. I love it when watches have a bilingual day wheel, just because I think it adds so much character to the watch. I mean, my SKX007, which hasn't switched around yet, has an Arabic day wheel, and I always love seeing that. On a slight side note, I really want to get other languages of day wheels, just because I had my Grand Seiko and also my Tuna that I sold. They have a kanji day wheel, which is super cool, and my Zen 104, which I also sold, has a German day wheel. So I definitely want to get a German day wheel back, and I've heard that there are French day wheels on some Seikos, except I have no idea which ones they are. I mean, let me know in the comments if you guys know which watches have this the French day wheel or any other language day wheel, just because I really want to get it, and I think that's my thing. I want to collect as many languages of day wheels as possible. So please help me out and put that in the comments if you guys know. Okay, and now I just want to take a quick look at the SKX013. This is the watch that has all the aftermarket parts. So proportionately, it's quite different from the ISL-69, and mainly it has a 38 millimeter case width, but honestly the case width is technically 38, but you can barely see the case when it's actually on your wrist. So you're really dealing with a 36.5 millimeter bezel, because that's pretty much all you're going to be able to see when it's on your wrist, and that's how it wears. I mean, this wears pretty small. This does wear like a 36 or 37 millimeter watch, and I love the proportions of it with a 20 millimeter lug, which is a huge selling point for me on this watch, just because I can wear an SKX finally on all of my straps. And also the other thing is that this is far thinner, just over 13 millimeters thick versus the 15.6 on the ISL. Yeah, the ISL wears much more like a 40 or just like a big 39, and this one wears more like a 36, 37. So you are dealing with pretty different wearing experience. These two watches can definitely coexist in a collection, just because they look so different, and also all the parts are compatible. So you're pretty much buying you know, for 2 watches every single time you buy something. Once again, another justification to think about for buying more bracelets and straps. And I just wanted to quickly show you know, the ISL-69 next to a SKX that everyone knows and loves, the 009. Yeah, I mean, if you have a SKX007 or 009 and you're a little bit wary of wearing a 40mm watch and you think it might be too small, just go for it, just because this does not wear as small as a 013 over here. So yeah, just I would say just go for it. So yeah, the ISL-69 is definitely a watch that you would want to get if you're a big fan of the turtle case, but 45mm is a little bit too big, or if you're a fan of the baby turtle, which is a little bit smaller, but you're not really a big fan of the 3 o'clock crown or the Cyclops. I know I'm not, but honestly, you can also get the watch if you just want a smaller Seiko S diver, because I don't think they make anything in this 40mm range. Let me know if I got that wrong, but yeah, I mean, it's completely stands on its own merits. I mean, the dial is amazing, the case is amazing. I'm not a big fan of the bezel, but the awesome thing is that it's compatible with all the SKX013 aftermarket parts. So I've already ordered the bezel for it. I can change everything I want about it. I can put the bracelet that came with it on my 013, all that good stuff. I can mod it however I want, which is so cool. So basically for $299, you're getting a watch that you can customize however you want. So in a way, you're kind of getting multiple watches for $299. So yeah, use that to justify it in your head over there. But yeah, awesome watch, go get it. And yeah, I think that just about takes care of everything from me today. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. It's obviously really helpful, and subscribe for more content. That's going to be super helpful for me. And also let me know what you guys think in the comments, just because this is a really cool combination. I'm not a big fan of the entire combination, but what do you guys think about Islander watches? You know, are you guys SKX monitors out over there? That'll be awesome to find out. But yeah, until the next video, good day.